listening to the Money Monopolizers podcast, helping you take control of your financial destiny. It's about time that we invest more in our financial literacy and work towards building generational wealth. If you think you're ready to do the same, then you've come to the right place. Alex, Marlon, y'all ready? Let's get this bread.
What's good, everybody? It's Alex Kamunya here, and we are back with episode 82 of the Money Monopolizers podcast. And I'm here with my co-host, Marlon Walls. Marlon, how you doing today?
Ecstatic. So I want everybody to go. I don't even know what episode this was. Go back.
Bunch
of episodes ago. You already know I'm finna say that. I ain't told you yet, but man.
Oh, that's fine.
We got an offer accepted on a house. This is only the probably back at go looking like episode 60s, like the 50s or 60s is where I started this journey, man. This has been wild. But I'm telling you, this house has checked off every box that I was looking for, besides the price.
It's the house hacking for those guys.
Yes, yeah, I'm gonna get into it. So, if anybody who doesn't know about this journey, when I got back from Purdue, my goal was to find another house hack because when I was living at Purdue, when I was living in Indiana, I was doing a house hack where I lived owned a 4-bedroom house, lived in 1 bedroom, and rent out the rest of them. I sold that one, and my goal is to get another one here in Houston. But it's been the worst, not the worst, but it's been just a long journey of trying to find a house because it's been such a hot market currently. And so there was a house that came on the market, sat on for like 10 days. They had listed it at $330 at first. They dropped it after like 7 days to $315, and I came in, I offered $294, and then we met in the middle at $300 after a couple of back and forth. But this house is like perfect as far as like for house hacking purposes because it has 4 bedrooms in the front, and then there's in the back. It's actually attached to the house, but it's completely separate, and you still have the garage too. For the main house, or there is no main house. It's all like under one roof. So it's not like a completely separate unit. But in the back, it has 2 bedrooms, and then it's already renovated. I'm hoping that it wasn't renovated. That way I could do it myself and build a little equity into it. But
2-bedroom back house?
2-bedroom back house though, and it's like a complete unit. Everything.
This the one you sent?
Yep, it's the one I sent. So you can go check it out again.
Yeah.
But the crazy thing about this one is that it could probably be a triplex one day, and I think I'm gonna try to turn it into that because there's 3 bedrooms on the downstairs portion of the main house, but the upstairs portion is where the entire master suite is, and you could sell that master suite as its own unit if you can find a way to connect like some stairs or something to go upstairs, but not from the main house. And that's gonna be my goal for it.
It has like another kitchen.
Dang, that's actually a good point. It doesn't have a kitchen, but no, it has a living space though. That's like a miscellaneous space, and it has 2 living spaces, and one of those can be transformed into like get some plumbing routed up in there, and you can get like a little kitchenette set.
Yeah.
So it's very unique, but I love that one so much, and I'm like that was like one of the unicorns that I was waiting to find. So we got it accepted. Gonna go inspect on Wednesday, and this will be one day before this episode is released, so we've done an inspection by the time y'all hear this. But I'm looking forward to getting this one.
No, man, that's dope. It's been a real long time, damn near a year. So that's good, man, because it was looking bleak at one point. It's like, yo, this dude gonna find it? But I mean, that's like Houston is like one of the most ridiculous markets in terms of real estate right now. So that's good. What as far as the numbers, is it going like, cash flow as far as, when you move out and even when you're living there? Or?
It's definitely cash flow when I move out, because especially if I try to do that triplex method. But even with just the renting out the back house, it's going to still cash flow like $400, and that's what you expect when you have a 2 units. You expect like to get $200 per unit, so it's right along the lines of what I was expecting. So I'm good with it.
That's good. That's good, man. It's been very long time. I think that's good as far as you'll be able to kind of move into there and then build some equity into that too, because I mean 300, that's so crazy to even think about in Houston for really anything. $300,000. What is, that's insane, man. I mean, if you on the West Coast or you in New York or whatever, y'all like
they're like, bro, that ain't nothing. That's like a penny.
Shit, man, 300,000 is kind of crazy in Texas, but that's right now. Everything is just super inflated, in my opinion, because the market's manipulated. But it's a whole nother conversation. But so, gotta do what you gotta do to make deals done. And to me, like I always say too, it's like as long as the numbers work the way you want them to work, it don't matter necessarily the price I'm paying. Like you could charge me $1 million if I'm still getting my numbers. Look, I'm not gonna count your pockets. You get to make money, I get to make money, whatever. We make the deal happen. Right? So that's dope, man. That's dope.
How you been, bro?
Nah, man, I'm good. Everything's been real solid, man. Business has been April has been a really, I guess by the time y'all hear this, pretty much be the end of April, the 29th, I think, when this release. If you listen to this, the day it releases April 29th. And it will have been a good month in April, at least so far. We'll see how this week plays out, but it's pretty
day by day.
Yeah, pretty much. It's gonna be a big week coming up, at least in one of the business, in the cleaning business. I'm gonna do pretty much about 25,000 in revenue at least this month. So excited about that. Excited about that growing, and I'm just kind of trying to figure out how I can scale that in a more unique way now. Once I have like my infrastructure is built out and that kind of stuff. So I really want to scale it to something really big. So that's kind of what I've been, thinking about a lot and working on. But other than that, man, everything's been good, except the vid. But that's
the
that.
vid. It's
No, nothing. We'll talk.
Oh, okay. I got you. Okay.
Yeah, no, we'll forget about that. But yeah, man. Other than that, we had a good episode this week. I think it's definitely a unique episode in terms of what we got into today. We talked to Amit Nath, and he's another young entrepreneur, 25 years old, out in New York. Shout out all our listeners in New York. But yeah, he had a really unique story, just because he went the whole school route and that kind of stuff like we did, and now he's full-time entrepreneur, operating with Brandon from BrandResumes. We haven't got him on here, but I think one day we will. And just kind of scaling that business. He co-founded along with him a resume writing business, and they pretty much have scaled that to, I think he said, 7 figures. They're gonna make over $1 million this year, which is insane because they only started 2 years ago. They said this is the 2nd year in business, so it's kind of crazy to think that's what you can do in business. But when and another thing is, like, you're doing that writing resumes. That's why it's like, man, there's so much money to be made in so many different ways out here. It's like you can be a owner of a 10-figure resume writing business, right? $1 billion resume writing business, whatever you want to do. Like, you can do whatever it is. And I love the way I love his story, because one thing we talked about a couple episodes ago in episode 80 was about is entrepreneurship for you. And one thing I mentioned is that a lot of people want to be an entrepreneur. One thing we talked about is that a lot of people want to be entrepreneurs because they want the title, they want all that kind of stuff, they want to be the CEO. That's completely false for a lot of. I wouldn't say it's false, but for Amit, I mean, he took a different approach. He went the intrapreneur approach, right? I talked about the intrapreneur in that episode in terms of, like, you don't have to be the CEO to have equity in a company or to own a business. You can take the entrepreneur right? You can be the second-hand man to the CEO, or be a co-founder to them, right? You get on early and you get equity into a company. You can make a lot. You're going to be a lot richer than a lot of CEOs and entrepreneurs that own 100% of their bummy companies, right? So just because you are paired with someone that is the right CEO, because you might not necessarily be the right CEO. Not saying that was him in his case, but he saw an opportunity to get paired with someone that was, he mentioned a lot of the traits that Brandon had that he saw that he liked. So that's why I'm really excited about his whole story and to see what they do with that business. I mean, he talked about how you can make up like whatever amount you really want as a resume writer. You can make $4,000 a week. And he said there was someone making $50,000 a month just writing resumes. Like, this earning potential is crazy. So you don't even have to start a resume writing business. If you're in college right now, you're listening to this, or you just graduated or whatever, you want another side hustle, you can become a resume writer. You can go work for BrandResumes, become a resume writer. So we got into a whole lot of different stuff. So, but what did you think of it before we get into it?
No, for one, he was in a lot of stuff, so we had a lot to talk about because he's all over the place. But I love that he was trying to really get focused in on that one thing, which was brand resumes right now, because he sees the potential for it, and if he knows that by focusing on this, he doesn't necessarily lose his knowledge of any other business or any other venture he may want to get into. But this business is going to fund the rest of them, and then he'll be able to start diverting his focus after he's accomplished this one. And I think that's a big takeaway for anybody that's looking to be an entrepreneur, whatever. Like, if you can really maintain that focus and like build something up to where it's running itself, that's when you can really start like having your profits segue into the other multiple streams of income. And I kept on reiterating all throughout the episode that entrepreneur mentality, or no, that having that entrepreneur is something that a lot of entrepreneurs feel like they can't achieve or can't find, and they just feel like nobody will treat their business as they do. This dude is a textbook example of what we're talking about with the entrepreneur, and finding somebody who can support your business but not be the main guy or the CEO of the company. And so I love that about him. And then just about the brand resumes in general, any business that you design, the whole purpose of it is to solve problems. And when you can solve multiple people's problems, that's when you can really reap the large rewards for it. They're solving not only the people that they're writing resumes for, and like a LinkedIn page and all that set up. They're solving these employers' problems. Employers are looking for employees, and they just want to see somebody that is credible, like that has a good backing, a good background. All you need to do is know how to sell yourself as a or not sell, but advertise yourself as the employee, and you can get connected to an employer. So now you're solving two people's problems, and you're being compensated for it. So that's why I see such a large future for them, especially because it's recession proof. There's always going to be people that need jobs. So I love what they're doing too, man. So I'm looking forward to even getting Brandon out here one day as well. But it was a great episode.
So let's get into this episode. What's good, Amit? How you doing today?
Doing well, man. Doing well. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We happy to get on here. This is actually, going to be an interesting episode. I'm not even gonna lie. Whenever, you had reached out to us, I was like, I never even really considered this aspect of making money in terms of like, being a resume writer and, having a resume writing business. So I really want to get into that, later into the episode. But, usually, how we start every episode, we really want to get into the background of our guests and kind of just see kind of, what their upbringing was in relation to money and finances, and kind of your story and how you got to where you are now today. So if you can, take a couple minutes to just kind of get into that.
Yeah, absolutely. And shout out everybody that's watching. I appreciate you for tapping in. This is definitely going to be a great episode. I'm going to try and leave all the gems on the table. My name is Amit Nath. So I'm from Long Island, Uniondale, New York. So I have two older sisters as well. Being Guyanese, it was definitely pretty difficult being raised, right? Typical Guyanese people, like, they have the preconceived notions of being like alcoholics and things like that. And like that whole Caribbean vibe, it was there. But at the end of the day, my parents always instilled that it was, books first, right? It was always saying, okay, you always got to be about your education. You always got to do your homework. You always got to respect your elders, because at the end of the day, these people are taking their time to teach you, right? So I grew up, went to Uniondale High School, graduated, top of my class. I think I was like number 80 something. It's crazy. I was a class clown. My classroom was predominantly, African American, Spanish, few white people, very few Guyanese people. And then at the back of my backyard was really Hofstra University. And growing up, I got accepted into Hofstra University for a 4-year full ride bachelor's program, right? I started as a civil engineer, similar to you, Alex, and then it just wasn't for me, man. I can't do that math and science, man. But I was always good at system thinking, and I was always a critical thinker. So my sophomore year of college, I decided to pursue sustainability studies. There's environmental sustainability, taking care of the environment, making sure that, the air that you breathe is fresh, right? There's economic sustainability, making sure that you're not going out of your margins, that you're, making sure that at the end of the day, everyone's getting paid. You're making sure that your business isn't going to go belly up, right? And then there's social sustainability, making sure that everyone around you is happy. There's processes in place that everything is flowing efficiently and accordingly, right? My second year of grad school, well, it was actually my first year because of the 3-2 program. I actually got a full-time job as an environmental scientist for Delta LaGuardia Airport. And then I decided to rekindle my relationship with one of my best friends from college, and actually high school as well, Brandon Mitchell, right? He's the founder and CEO of BrandResumes. That's really my boy. We've always been in contact with each other. I've known him throughout all of his startups. And there were some that, bellied up. Some of them, are here to stay. Now, really where we're on the trajectory is really trying to take this resume building company into 7 figures, right? We're on track. We're on a fast pace. I started off just taking calls for him. And then, I was just doing that part-time. And at the same token, I decided to leave Delta. I finished up my master's in a year, and I took my talents to Wall Street. I was a sustainability analyst on Wall Street. I was doing that whole 9 to 5, getting up early in the morning, hopping on the train, with my little briefcase, getting into a WeWork. And then, after being on Wall Street for about 4 months, I realized that this wasn't my calling anymore, right? And at the same token, the BrandResume startup was starting to pick up traction. We started, selling like hotcakes. We started doing more networking events. And then the last day before we got into the new year, I basically said, okay, I called my boss. I said, you know what, I'm putting in my 2 weeks, because you always got to be professional, right? You just don't want to write an email to put in your 2 weeks. I always say that it's better to personally call someone, especially your boss, and let them know, so you can feel more of a touch together, and it's not like any malice in their heart, right? So basically she said, you know what, I'm going to respect you. You don't even need to put your 2 weeks in. You're good. You're done. Go and kill your startup. I know that you're building your startup, all power to you. So then it was really like I joined BrandResumes full-time as the vice president of sales and strategy. And we were able to really articulate ourselves and really help job seekers, entry-level graduates, mid-career professionals, and executives. We took it to career fairs. We took it to, doing building workshops. But at the same time, we got into a partnership with Earn Your Leisures. And shout out to all my guys at EYL. We were actually their first partnership, period, point blank, before they even blew up. They started having, Dame Dash and all these heavy hitters, right? And they were sending us people that were job seekers that needed help. And we were able to help them and really help scale our business. I have a lot of businesses. I do a lot of stuff. Believe it or not, I'm only 25 years old, similar to you guys, right? So it's really just hustle, bustle. It all came from my parents and really who I am as a person. And it's just being infectious and being in the room and not being the smartest person in the room. You don't want to be the smartest person in the room. You want to be the most social person in the room. You want to be able to talk to everybody and network and see where you can build and where can someone help you out or where you can help somebody out. It's better to give than to receive. And at the end of the day, being a people of color, we really got to stick together no matter what you're doing, because there's always ways to really mesh with each other. But yeah, I felt like I talked a lot, but
no, for sure. So I think you got into a lot. One thing I really wanted to get into a little bit more was because you had mentioned how, well, first of all, are you an immigrant? Are you first generation here? Or were you born in New York?
Yeah, so I was born in Long Island, New York, but my parents were born in Guyana, and then their great grandparents were born from India.
So okay, so you're first generation here. So one thing, because I have a similar background in that sense. Was I actually wasn't born in this country, but I moved here when I was 1 year old. But
Nice.
I think I heard a lot of those same things growing up in that sense of like, school is the only thing that matters. Actually, it's funny because before I hopped on here, I was talking to my mom and I was telling her, I was like, college is different now. You don't need college today to become successful, all this stuff. She didn't want to hear none of that still to this day. I could literally I cannot convince her that you if you don't go to college, then it's wrong. But anyways, I say that to say because it's interesting how obviously I resonate with that a lot because I went to college. Obviously, I did the whole civil engineering thing. You go to school, you get the job, and then you realize at some point while you're working that, man, this is just not like fulfilling to you in the sense of like, I can do more, right? I can actually, live life according to my own terms, right? And then obviously, shout out to you for, quitting your job and, going to full-time entrepreneur. I know just having that immigrant background, that was definitely something that, I don't know, maybe it was a tough decision for you just based off the fact that, I don't know how your parents might have felt about that or the people around your family. Obviously, you mentioned your sister is like a superstar doctor. So it's like, everything around you is kind of like school, work. So it's like if you do anything different, then it's kind of looked at as like,
what are you doing, man? Like,
yeah, like
you see what we're supposed to be doing.
That's not what we do.
That's the thing, right? It's exactly what you said. You hit the nail on the head. It's really like, okay, books. Go to school, get an education, get a job, go to your 9 to 5, get married, have kids. Get a retirement plan, get some land. But then that's when you buy real estate, right? Yeah. It's not like you buy real estate first, then you do all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? I mean, yeah, man. Entrepreneurship is very taboo. And I feel like it's more so the money. They're really concerned about the money for me. Security. And it's like, oh, I have equity in this company. They don't give a shit about equity. Yeah. They're like, what is equity? Like,
what's your paycheck look like?
Exactly. What's your paycheck look like? What's your bank look like? Like what you got coming in? And it's like, yo, I'm building a legacy here. Yeah. Like I'm looking for a 4-year exit after this. I'm in 2 years of the business. I'm looking for 4 years for a 9-figure exit, boys. I'm looking for a 10-figure exit, bro. Like I was doing some research in my industry, bro. Top Resume. They got bought out by Boston Investments for a 9-figure exit, bro. And that was 6 years in the business. And those guys, their technology ain't shit compared to what we got, bro. So it's really like,
hey, y'all hear the New York in the voice,
right? You see, he start coming out for real.
The New York coming out. He sound like an Italian mobster.
Yeah.
No, that's a good perspective. I never thought about it like that, but I can see why you would think that way because you see that your primary source of income is going to be what you're building, and I respect that for sure.
Because I want to kind of get into the whole aspect of like because what I see from you, I really look at you as like you seem. I like the concept of intrapreneurs, right? And so there's something in one of my favorite books of for one of my favorite digital mentors is Patrick Bet-David. And one of the concepts he talks about is whole entrepreneurs versus entrepreneurs thing. And so with the entrepreneur, like obviously like he or the definition of an entrepreneur is someone that kind of starts a business and they take on pretty much all the risk in terms of the financial aspects and all that other stuff. But then there's also the concept of someone that's known as an entrepreneur. We talked about this in one of the previous episodes, I think episode 79 or 80. And the entrepreneur is pretty much that person that comes on along with the entrepreneur. And they essentially, are in the business and they treat the business as if it's their own, except they are more in a second position role, right? And so it seems like that's something that you've done it with BrandResumes as the VP in that company too. And I think that's really interesting because many people don't end up actually going into entrepreneurship in that route. So is that like something that you did intentionally as opposed to like, just because why didn't you look at it as like, oh, I could go start my own resume company or whatever the case may be, as opposed to going on with Brandon or that kind of stuff and letting him be the CEO and stuff like that? Does that make sense?
So Brandon has always been a very fast thinker. His work ethic is immaculate, bro. Like I'm about to go check him later today, but we would enjoy our days and then at nighttime we would just grind because we realized that nighttime, that's when everybody else is sleeping. So if you're working when everybody else is sleeping, then you're winning. Because at the end of the day, nobody else can keep up with you. And it's not about being better than everybody else. It's being better than you were yesterday.
Yeah.
Being better than yourself. The only person that you have in competition with is yourself. I mean, to answer your question, it's really like I decided to not put all that strain on me. Brendan and I, we are alpha males as well. So being people from the same hood and understanding the corporate mindset and understanding, where we're at and where we need to be and understanding that, okay, we both work from the mud. We know exactly how to work up our way and how to build up a company and how to instill, that sustainable culture. And also, his background's in finance. So all the finance and economic stuff is handled by him. My background's in sustainability. So I'm making sure, our energy costs are low. Economically, we're not going under, socially, everybody's happy and working for the company. It's things like that. We really put together like a whole entire executive team, and I feel like before you even decide to start a company, you need to look at leadership, because at the end of the day, if you don't have leadership, your company is going to fall apart. And that's what happens. Like a lot of company people, they start companies and then they're not able to lead, or they fall through the cracks, or they're not as aggressive as possible. And then people play you as a joke and they won't take you as serious. And now, you got Sari Lou that's 40 years old working under you, but you're younger than her, and she's not respecting you because of the fact that, you're not on it how a 50-year-old would have been on it. You know what I'm saying? And that's just through making sure that you're able to not only look the part, dress the part, feel the part, but also have the mindset like, yo, I'm a winner. I'm an executive. I'm a senior VP. Like it's not a title. It's an action. It's I come and cut deals. I go and I build out a whole team. We got 50 people on our company, and we are the youngest people working at our company.
I want to get into this because I really want anybody that's an entrepreneur to hear your perspective, because what you are is like what Alex was talking about, is that intrapreneur, the person that every entrepreneur is looking for in their business. Because just by listening to what you're saying, you are very passionate about the business resume writing, but you're not necessarily the CEO of the company. And most people think that when they're an entrepreneur, that nobody would treat their business as good as they treat it. And I think these are the unicorn people so like in your case, you are one of those unicorn people that understand your role and responsibility in the business and understand the vision of where it's going, to the point where you are bought in just as much as the CEO is. And so I really want to get into the details now about BrandResumes in particular, because I think we can get a lot of value out of that particular business for our listeners. So like, tell us a little bit more about how this business works, and like, what is your role and responsibility in it as well?
And what is it?
All right, so BrandResumes is a tech-enabled career advancement solution. We work with entry-level graduates, mid-career professionals, and executives across the entire world. Right? We have offices in Milwaukee, we have offices in Texas, we have offices all over the entire United States. But now, because the people are virtual, we decided to cut back and just, everybody has their own laptop, they're just doing their thing. We do professional resume writing. We do LinkedIn profile optimizations, because your LinkedIn is your virtual business card. And I can't stress this enough. It's so important. It's so important. Like, because of the fact that no one's meeting you face to face anymore, just to do networking events and things like that, people get to see your face directly from your LinkedIn. But on top of that, let me get into the resume writing, because resume writing is such an untapped industry. If y'all are listening to this, we actually have a course, right? And it's not my course, it's Brandon's course, but I'll take some credit for it, because I was out. We flew out to Milwaukee for this. So we will literally teach you how you can scale yourself to become a resume writer and run your own resume writing business, bro. We're on track to making 7 figures this year. And we've only been in the business. We're about to make our second year in the business, but we didn't get to scale ourselves just from just writing resumes. It's really been our technology. And we were able to recently, a few months ago, take our technology, decentralize it, and create a SaaS platform where we now have resume writers and career coaches using our technology to now scale their business. And now we get people on our nipples through having them pay monthly through a subscription. So this is how you literally build a business, take what you use that scaled your business to help you create another entity, and then have people just pay you monthly so they can, scale their business. I feel like career centers growing up, even in universities, they didn't teach us what we know now. This is a totally different game. I feel like at the end of the day, those people that worked in the career center were just collecting checks. They weren't here to write your resume for you. They were here to guide you. But guidance is absolute garbage, bro. Like, if you don't know how to write a resume professionally, then how can you guide me to write a resume? You know what I'm saying? And you know that because of the fact that they would never write a resume for you. They would say, okay, do this, do that, come back to me. Then you would be like scratching your head, is this good? And they'd be like, I got Sally, I got Mark, I got all these other people in line. I'll just say yes, and that's it. But with us, we literally write your resume for you. We go through the entire process. So the way the process works, and I'll be fully transparent with y'all because y'all my bros. So you get onboarded onto our portal. It's literally like when you log into Facebook. You get an email and then you get a password. Once you're on the portal, you fill out a questionnaire that we have pre-built. And then you also upload your resume. After that, we pair you up with a specialized resume writer. We have specialized in HR, technology, healthcare, legal, sustainability, cybersecurity. I mean, anything in particular, we have a specialized resume writer for you. the writer is paired up with you. That writer reaches out to you on our platform via chat feature. We basically took AIM AOL messaging and we inputted it into our platform, bro. It's really crazy, and we were able to literally take the confusion away, because right now with our competitors, you gotta if you're in a business, you gotta take the time to really study who's your competition and to really understand how you're carving out the reason for your exit, the reason for your market share, the reason for why you're going to take over and even acquire certain type of people, right? I'm in the business to not be bought out. I'm in the business to go acquire people so I could build up. So then I could look at being, exited through a private equity bank or something like that. You know what I'm saying? It's bigger fish out here, like VCs and things like that. But
I love what y'all are doing with this business, because what I see it as is like, I mean, number one, you're utilizing tech, right? And so tech is a great way to definitely be able to scale the business. But what I love even more is that, I mean, how quickly y'all have expanded it, right? So y'all mentioned, I think you mentioned earlier, y'all have 50 people in the business right now, and a lot of those people, I'm sure a lot of them,
people, 11 internal people, everybody else like contractors.
okay, yeah, like resume writers. So but what happens is y'all have use tech to create a lot of those systems in which I'm sure, like, regardless of anybody that want to go to y'all to get their resume written, regardless of the resume writer they got with, because of the systems that y'all put together, they're going to get a quality resume regardless of what resume writer they get paired with, because the resume writer is following a set of systems, right? They're following a set of principles. They're not having to go out there and guess, like when you go to the career center and tell you just something off the top of their head. They're following principles and systems that are allowing them to provide a uniform product, just like McDonald's. Whatever McDonald's you go to, whatever Chick-fil-A is a great example. Whatever one you go to, you're gonna get the same Chick-fil-A sandwich. They're gonna get the same fries wherever you go. And with brand resumes, you're gonna get the same thing. And that's why I always tell people too, when you're scaling the business, it's like, and that's my goal with everything. It's like, if I can scale it, I want the same product to be delivered regardless who's delivering it. So that's what I love about what y'all are doing.
Yeah, no, and you're absolutely right. It's because at the end of the day, it's repetition, right? And word of mouth is really something that carries. Like, being on Earn Your Leisure and getting all that exposure. Being on here, shout out to y'all. It's gonna give me some exposure, and it's really like, you wouldn't want to send someone to me if I'm gonna write a shitty resume or not get them that job, or like because they're paying a certain type of premium. Like, my business, my service is not cheap, and we were able to really up our prices because of the fact that what we're bringing to the table. It's like, and at the same time, we have a digital partnership with Klarna. I don't know if you're familiar with Klarna, but Klarna allows you to pay within payment options. So now you're literally investing in your professional development through a resume, bro. You literally buy, let's say, the All-Star Professional Package for $7.99. That's where you do your resume, your LinkedIn, distribute your resume, and apply to jobs on your behalf. All you got to pay is $700, and you can split that up into 4 interest-free installments over the next 8 weeks. You get your resume within 7 to 10 business days. It's really investing, because by the time you land that interview, by the time you land that next job, you have a steady flow of income that you can invest into stocks, that you can invest into that, and you can pay us all off because of Klarna. And that's what we're really bringing to the table as a minority company, as a company that is definitely here to break the status quo, especially with our technology. It's really just getting smarter. Everything is just about leveling up at the end of the day.
Yep, and I want to reiterate again, because I want to make sure people understand this. This is not the CEO of the company talking. This is this is like the right-hand man. This is the intrapreneur. Huh?
I'm the co-founder.
Yes, this is the co-founder of the business, but he's still talking as if he is the owner of the company his own self. Like, there is nobody else. Like, he has that type of passion about the company to where he is going to push it as if he was the owner of it. And there are people out there that are like that.
If someone was to wanted to become let's just say a resume writer in itself, because I saw somewhere where y'all were talking about you can make $4,000 a week or something like that as a resume writer. I don't know if it was $4,000 a week or something, but it was $4,000, maybe if it was a month or $4,000.
Yeah, people make a lot of money in this business. I can't hold you. Like, we were at a networking event, and there was this girl that she's very smart, and I love her business around this model, because we actually sponsored this Thrive event for resume writers and career coaches, and there was a girl there that was literally making $50,000 a month. And the reason why she was making $50,000 a month was because she was only servicing like 20 clients a month, bro. But she didn't build out a team. Like, it was just her and herself. She didn't really have technology either behind it. And it's very archaic. Other resume writers, what they do is they just go through emails back and forth. Things get finicky. Things get lost. every resume that she was charging was for like, $5,000 because of the fact that it was more personal. And then she had a certain amount of slots open for the month, and it's kind of like a first come first serve. And like it's like high level people, like I'm talking about VPs of like Aflac, like senior executives at BMW, like high level people come to her because they want their resume done, because they know that this resume is really going to be that vehicle that's going to get me that 250K salary, that's going to get me that 350K job. Like at the end of the day, it's if you're smart and you have the money, go hire a professional resume writer. You know what I say to people all the time when I'm selling, because I'm the VP of sales and my job, my goal is to bring in the money. And literally for the past 2 weeks, we've brought in about $15,000 a week in just selling resumes and selling resume packages. Now, I'll give you a gem right now. You don't make money selling just the resume. You make money selling the resume, the LinkedIn, the cover letter, the distribution, the job site booster, the interview coaching, all this comes coupled together in a career, because this is a needs-based business. My business is never, never, never going away. People need jobs, especially during a pandemic. It was just lucky enough, by the grace of God, that we had a crash. And now my business blew up because of the fact that there have been tons of furloughs and layoffs. But to answer your question, I mean, it's really like, okay, you can charge anywhere from $50 to $5,000 for a resume, right? You can put people on payment plans. PayPal does the 4 installments now, so there's different lucrative ways to get money. You can do a monthly subscription and say, okay, I worked on your resume. You pay me every month. We come back to it until you find a job. We can do different type of ways to get the money. The resume writing business is a very untapped industry. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. I think it's really here to stay.
Real quick then. Just if someone was to come on as into brand resume, do y'all pay the resume writer based off of like a set, hourly wage, or are they independent contractors where y'all profit share with them, or
right? And that's a great question. Different resume writing companies have different type of ways that they want to pay. We do a contract base because we have contractors. Some people do part time. Some people get paid by the hour. By the hour, excuse me. So it just depends. But yeah, I think it's better to just have contractors, to be honest, because then you're able to keep track of them. It's not like, you got to make sure that they're working every hour and things like that. So yeah, it's really just okay, you work on this resume, you send me the resume, I pay you type of deal. It's like that.
And I think one very special thing, because you mentioned this, like everybody, this business is not going out of business ever. I think that's one special thing about this particular one, is that this is like recession proof. There's never going to be a day in the world that there's no more jobs. I don't foresee that happening. Like there's nobody, like there's no work. That means life can't go on. Like nobody can serve you at McDonald's anymore. There won't be no Walmart open. Somebody's gonna need a job at every moment in time. So that's one of the best things about this. And the thing where you can add the most value as your business is that these people may be smart in their particular area. They may be great engineers. They may be great doctors. They may be great lawyers, but they may not be great salesmen. And they may not understand the art of writing a resume, building a LinkedIn page, going through the distribution of boards and all that. And that's where you can add the most value to them. Just because you're smart in one area doesn't mean you're smart in everything. And that's why you're able to add so much value to people.
Absolutely. And then the thing about resumes is that it's not just a US thing. People in India need jobs. People in China need jobs. Like resume writing is a business that's international, right? And, we're going to get to the point where we're scaling and we have Italian writers. We have, Chinese Mandarin writers, you know what I'm saying? And that's when shit gets real spooky, because then when you adapt it into the technology, you got somebody typing you in English and then sending it through the chat feature, and then it's translating it for you. And now you got, could be all, let me start it, man. I drop all the jokes.
I love it. And I love it. And it goes back to that tech, man. That tech is super key in scaling, because now y'all are going to essentially globalize, resume writing in that sense of, it doesn't matter. Anybody could write any resume anywhere in the world. So that's dope, man. I love it. That's really an interesting business. I never thought of this, whole business model in that sense.
And what I wanted to end with is like, what is your long-term goal? I know you said 9 figures. Is that like something that you see like in the foreseeable, in the near future? Like, what is that for you?
Mainly, yeah. My goal is just to, help out people, really scale the business. If I do exit the business, I'm still going to hold equity. Here's a goal. Here's something for everybody that's trying to be inspired right now, is if you have a business and you own a certain amount of equity, if your business does get bought out, still never give up all of the equity. Right. You can still hold some equity. So while they're scaling, while while they're now going into their next rounds of funding, you still own a piece of equity. So now you're still getting some of the pie. Now you sold your business at this type of exit, but then while your business is bought out, it's been, growing. They decide to do another deal or another exit. Now you just, quadrupled your exit, what you originally did, type deal.
I think that I want to just make this a very strong point of emphasis. Even if you own 1% of brand resumes and they hit $100 million valuation, that 1% is equal to 1 million in itself. And just to put that in perspective, like it's not always important to own 100% of the company in order to be profitable or in order to start building wealth for yourself. Like the main takeaway for me is that you can own a piece of everything, and all of those are going to compound on themselves in order to still build you the wealth that you aspire to obtain.
I mean, that's how I look at Steve Ballmer too, in that sense, right? Steve Ballmer was the CEO of Microsoft from I think 2000 to 2016. And for him, he didn't found Microsoft. He got hired early on by Bill Gates. He's worth $90 billion, and he never owned the 100% of the company. He owned a few 100,000 shares early on. that's going lead to a nice financial reward in the future. So that's dope, man. That's dope. And that's why I be talking about too. It's like you don't have to be the entrepreneur. You could be the intrapreneur. You don't have to own 100% if you are especially paired with somebody or you're working with somebody that has those business skills and those intangibles that can help scale that business to beyond what you could have took it to by yourself. So before we end this, I want to wrap up with our last round of the podcast, which is pretty much the Fast Five. We'll pretty much ask you 5 questions and you answer them in 10 seconds or less.
Oh,
and
wow, it's gonna be difficult for me. All right, let's go.
You gotta keep it brief. So I'm gonna take the first one and then we'll alternate. So first question: what does success mean to you?
Success means to me being able to secure generational wealth as well as give back to the community on a consistent basis and not ask for a single penny.
Very nice. I love it. Question number 2: what's your favorite money or business book?
My favorite money or business book, I like. This is a hard one. I like Think and Grow Rich, but I feel like that's just a very basic one that everybody picks. But I do like reading other type of books like The Power of Habit. I like to read, like the 48 Laws of Power. I've read that book like consistently every year of my college life. I've read the 48 Laws of Power, and that's why I was really able to manipulate and finesse a lot of people.
I just finished that book. Shout out Robert Greene and 50 Cent. That's a dope book. Everyone got to check that one out. So then the next question, would you rather have $1,000 a week for life or $1 million today, and why?
$1,000 a week for life. Come on. The reason why is because I'm going to put that into option contracts and compound it.
Okay.
Very nice. All right. Question number 4. If you could go back and change anything about your short journey, what would it be?
Ooh, if I could change anything from my short journey, I would invest in Bitcoin.
Hey man, we could. That's a hard episode. You don't want to get it. We could get it. I'm sure you're in there now, but I just got in there last month. I put a good amount in there last month. And,
bro, I bought Dogecoin before it was even a cent, bro. I bought like 1,000. I bought so much money worth of it, and I sold it at like 20 cents because I thought that was gonna be the one pop. And look at it now. I mean, it's coming back down, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah. So, hey, man, I
would want to see him get in that Bitcoin conversation, though.
Yeah, man. That would probably be my only thing too. Is I said, man, I wish I bought Bitcoin. Like when the pandemic hit, I wish I was buying Bitcoin right there.
Yeah, but I can't hold you. But I just want to say that I was about to finesse Hofstra because I was going to Bitcoin mine when I was dorming at the university in Cyprus.
Wow.
But me and Brandon were gonna do that too, bro. That would have been crazy, man. Building out a whole team, and then like we were looking at the schematics, and then we were like, you know what, they would be able to literally calculate where all the energy would coming from, and then the guy in trouble, so I just didn't even bother with it. But yo, if I would have mined Bitcoin back then, bro, sheesh.
That was you talking before that's 2 halvings ago.
Yes.
So, right. That'd have been nasty, bro.
Yes.
Man, that's crazy, man. That's all good though.
I mean, look, at that, hey, it could be worse. I've seen some dudes that sold, they used 10,000 Bitcoin in 2011 to buy 2 pizzas. So, it's a lot worse.
Is when they have the wallets and they can't get into the wallets.
Yeah,
bro.
yeah,
That's pain, bro.
and they threw away the computer or something like that, and it's like, yo, SOL. So we gotta get that cold storage wallet though. Gotta get the cold storage. So, but yeah, man, this has been dope. I appreciate.
Ask question number 5, man.
Oh yeah. I'm tripping. Where can people find out? Where can people find out more about you?
Yeah, so you can follow me at tag_Amit. And the reason why my name is tag_Amit is, say we're playing a game of tag and I tag you. Who's it? Amit.
I am.
Amit. That's dope.
So that's me across all the boards. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Also, connect with my company, official BrandResumes. Connect with me on LinkedIn as well.
So yeah, man, this has been dope. We appreciate you coming on here. This has been a great perspective to have on here, and yeah, man.
Thanks, man. Yeah, no, I appreciate y'all for really tapping in with me. This was great, and I definitely would love to come back. I'm definitely gonna send a lot of high-ticketed people to you guys as well, because I love what you're doing for the culture. I love that you guys are young guys. I love your tenacity, and I just love the grit. And I know that y'all gonna take it to the moon. I know iHeartRadio is gonna buy y'all out. Y'all gonna get featured on your leisure podcast. Everything's gonna be great for y'all, man.
I love hearing all that.
I rock with you, bro. I rock with you, man. That's it for this episode of the Money Monopolizers podcast. New episodes will be released every Thursday and will be available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Just search Money Monopolizers wherever you listen to podcasts. We hope you learned something of value today. And if you did, we would appreciate if you rated us 5 stars and left us a review on Apple Podcasts. You can find out more info about us on Twitter at the Monopolizers or IG at Money Monopolizers. We post informative content on there that'll keep you engaged. So be sure to check that out and share those posts. But until then, we're out.
You've been listening to the Money Monopolizers podcast, helping you take control of your financial destiny. To learn more about how you can be in control of your money, visit moneymonopolizers.com. We'll catch you next time when Alex and Marlon share more personal finance and wealth creation tips with you. Now it's time to take action.